Always ready.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Starfyre Gaming. I'm Sir Joseph and this is Warhammer 40,000 Rogue Trader. We just got here and got attacked by that Chaos Space Marine who called himself Aurora as well. Our buddy, no, not him, no, where'd he go? There we go, Sergeant Malgar, he got killed by Aurora. So we just need to get off this planet. So we're going to go ahead and go to our void ship. I looted everything. I leveled everybody up. We all got modifiers to the superpower. So either extra damage, extra movement, extra debuffs on enemies, depending on what it was. Now we're going back to our ship. Thanks be to the Emperor, you are alive, your lordship. We are most gratified by your return, and the crew is full of zeal to carry out any orders you may have. Before anything else, I want to hear an account of what happened to the system's sun. The Voxmaster falters. Lord Captain, we saw a number of ships approach the sun. Black creations of inhuman make, amalgams of sharp angles and edges. They surrounded the star, and then, my apologies, but I struggled to find the words that could describe that terrible sight. The Xenos made the sun vanish into the void. The interrogator closes his eyes and grimaces. Drukhari! You see Avalard's expression change, as if a shadow has suddenly fallen over him. He rubs his temple warily, as if we did not have enough troubles on our hands already. We succeeded here, so... The Xenos, enemies of humanity. Heinrich nods. A breed of the Aldari, the most cruel and devious of their kind. The design of their ships matches the description provided by the Voxmaster. Like all Xenos, the Drukhari are a blight on the face of the galaxy, but their technological superiority is indisputable. They abhor and fear warp sorcery, which is why they rely on creations of their twisted intellect. And many of those creations are capable of things that may seem akin to sorcery to the unenlightened eye. The theft of the sun is one example of what they are capable of. Are the Xenos in league with Aurora's cultists? We can't rule out that possibility. The Drukhari would never ally themselves with the arch-enemy's worshippers. The Drukhari would never ally them. We can't rule it out, but you say they could never... Okay. If I had to name one thing that humanity and the Xenos have in common... Oh, we can rule out that possibility. I can't read. It makes sense. If I had to name one thing that humanity and these Xenos have in common, it would be a hatred, loathing, a shared loathing for warp corruption. Heinrich glances about. The situation calls for immediate action, Ignatius. We can continue this conversation later if you wish, but right now... He gestures at the deck, teeming with tumultuous activity. I believe you should assume command. What is the current situation on board? The navigator's sanctum is no longer empty, but the warp engine is still refusing to obey the engine seers. Without it, we cannot perform a warp jump. Pascal's voice buzzes anxiously from the Vox. It may be angry, or perhaps it is lamenting the injuries it has suffered. I will immediately initiate preparations for the prayer service. If the Omnisci grants me comprehension, I will appease the machine spirit of this vessel. Why did you not send a shuttle to the planet for me? I do apologize, Your Lordship, but we were unable to receive your location or your request for evacuation. The Vox link was overrun with vile interference, screams, blasphemous hymns, and other equally sinister noises. Any who listened to the interference for a protracted period lost their sanity. Several dozen operators went mad monitoring the Vox cast in the hope of hearing your voice. Each one of them waited in vain. What is happening on the planet now? Our augur operators are reporting numerous uprisings and other manifestations of the arch-enemy's power at various locations on the planet. Based on the fragments of communications picked up by our Vox operators, there is practically no resistance being offered to the governor's forces. Millions of people are converting to the blasphemous Final Dawn cult in mass and assembling in prayer circles. Do we have any hope of retaking the planet? I fear that Rykad Minoris is lost. The situation is deteriorating by the minute. We must leave this system as soon as possible. However, there are still people on the planet who have not succumbed to heresy and who are worthy of rescue. Besides a small number of our own shuttles, we also have the shuttles salvaged from the starport. The dark eyes of the sister battle flash. We must save as many as we can. This has all happened for a reason. Saint Argenta, whose name I carry with reverence and trepidation, is famed for saving the people of a dying world through her power of prayer. The God Emperor himself sent a star from the heavens that lifted the saint and her followers up to the sky, away from corruption and death. If we must do as she did, direct all our efforts to saving those people who at this moment look at the heavens for hope and salvation. The lives of peasants are of little value. Our prime objective is to save the holy relic, the miraculous fusion reactor, and the electro priests who guard and tend it. Abelard furrows his brows. Every moment we spend in proximity to a dying world, we are putting ourselves at risk. Your life, Lord Captain, is far more valuable than all of Rykad Minoris. The Von Valencius dynasty cannot be allowed to perish. And so, lamentable though it is, we must rule out the idea of any evacuation. Henrik's eyes, like two deep, dark pools, are resolutely fixed on you. The world is doomed, and its inhabitants along with it. The disappearance of the star was the final nudge towards death, the finale of the cult of Final Dawn's plans. I once witnessed a similar event, a world that had surrendered to the servants of the archenemy and permitted corruption to center too deep. At this moment, millions of people are bowing down before those who promised them salvation, and they are willingly giving over their souls to chaos, a sacrifice great enough to bring forth a demon world. Our only hope of stopping this process is to retreat to a safe distance from the planet and conduct targeted bombing of the Electro Priest's monastery. If we blow up the reactor, a thermonuclear reaction will follow. The world's oxygen will evaporate, killing off the entire biosphere. In doing this, we will save millions of souls from a fate far worse than death, and we will save Rykad Minoris from becoming an outpost of the archenemy. Whatever fate you choose for this world, I urge you to make haste, Lord Captain. The planet is burning in rages, flashing of crimson and purple. I can see it from orbit. As do I see that the storm is already upon us. With every moment that we waste, it grows ever more difficult and perilous to steer the ship through the warp's turbulent currents. I am with the lady on this. Enough talking. We need to get out of here while we still can. Something, lurking in the depths of your consciousness, bristles at the passing thought of saving people. The spike of horror you feel takes your breath away. It is as if you are planning to steal the prey of a mighty predator. The planet is already wrapped in a thread stretching out from the warp. It deserves to have a new master. Set an optimal course and carry out an orbital strike on the Electro-Priest Monastery. Rykad Minoris must fall. Yes, Lord Captain. I will immediately inform the navigation and artillery decks of the impending maneuver. Heinrichs inclines his head. The right choice, Lord Captain. May the sacred Exterminatus cleanse this veil of corruption. The bridge is an upheaval. The technomats' prayers mix together in a senseless cacophony, while servitors work hastily to remove a hardened crust of sacred unguents from the warp engine's components. In the middle of all this tumult stands Pascal with a data slate clenched in his hands, seemingly disconnected from the flurry of activity around him. Crew, heed the word of Magus Hanuman. Pascal, I kindly request that you take charge of this mess. Thank you, your lordship. You are right. Pascal's voice changes when he addresses the crew. He now speaks with authority and resolve. Tech comrades, heed my instruction. The mayhem immediately subsides, and the crew's actions fall into some indiscernible logic. The Omnisci servants start working in sync, and the binaric clamor becomes a symphony of reports, which the Magus coordinates like a skillful conductor. Admirably done, Pascal. The Omnisci guides me. The prayers of the tech priests surrounding the cogitator almost drown out the sounds of the bustling bridge behind you. Pascal, poring intently over the data slate in his hands, extends a mechadendrite towards you. Please take your place at the cogitator, Captain. Step up to the cogitator. The huge machine in front of you is lit with dozens of vid screens and hundreds of lumens. The blinking lights and endless rush of symbols and digits on the green backgrounds make your eyes water, and a vague sense of alarm simmers in the depths of your mind. The typical reaction of a layperson when confronted with the magnitude of the Omnisci's creation. Among the numerous controls, you see the mouth of a cyber gargoyle, the same as at the gate at the warrant's chamber. Pascal's voice becomes imbued with imperious force. Servants of the machine god, hear my command. Acolytes, prepare the incense instrumentation for the liturgy of machine spirit propitiation. Wow, say that 10 times real fast. Senior technomats, recite the prayer to generate a current data report. Operations will be marked with the Campanological Protocol Omnisci Rejoice. I must inform you that, for the purposes of safety, complete reassembly of the warp sextant and updating of its data smith blessings are required. If this is not done, then on launch, the volume of aggregate calculation errors could result in the destruction of the data crypts. But as we do not have 100 hours at our disposal, we must omit this procedure. Pascal looks down at the data slate in his hands. A minor deviation from the rite of operation for the sake of appeasing the spirit. What must I do? Place your hand inside the throat of the Cogitator Guardian, the cyber gargoyle, which has been assigned to guard the forbidden data crypts. The dynastic blood extracted from your veins will serve as a key to the data core where the machine spirit dwells. To it, we will offer our prayers so that we may bypass the protective protocol for defective connections and launch the warp sextant. Pascal's voice grows quieter. The laws of the Omnici know no exceptions, and so in this ritual I will remain at your side to placate the wrathful machine spirit in whose abode you will be intruding. Follow my liturgies, Lord Captain, and may we receive his blessing. Place our hand in the cyber gargoyle's mouth. The metal jaws clamp down in your hand, breaking your delicate corporal sheath and releasing warm red liquid into its gullet. At the same moment, the image on the vid screen before you changes. By my authority, I revoke the that word right there, protocol of the warp engine. One of the Cogitator's vid screens turns red. Pascal sees this and raises his hand, signaling to the rest of the tech priests, then withdraws a connector from his sleeve and connects it to the machine. Servants of the Omnici, make now the offering of cleansed data crypts to the machine spirit, so that it may be filled with true and calibrated data. May the Omnici have mercy on our souls. In meek solemnity, the acolytes offer up the cleansed data crypts to the warp engine, one after another, repeating prayers of exaltation. After anointing the contacts with sacred unguents, Pascal inserts them into the cogitator slots. Your head begins to spin from the holy censer's foul-smelling clouds of smoke, and from the loss of the blood that the cyber gargoyle continues to drink from you, and the world swims before your eyes. Let this mechanism awaken in renewed purity. Pascal enters a sequence of commands and raises his head, watching the vid screens. Suddenly, he stops dead. No! His fingers fly over the command runes, entering command after command. His mechadendrite clicking their pincers, pull at one lever after another. The vid screens fill with strange symbols, completely incomprehensible to you, but clearly conveying something to the Magus. Say nothing and do not interfere. After a few seconds, one of the data crypts mounted on the cogitator begins to emit sparks. A moment later, another data crypt does the same. The next bursts into flame. That's not good. It gives off foul-smelling smoke. Around you, the Omnici servants break off from their prayers, and someone bursts into frantic pleading. Pascal mournfully grates out. The massive errors in the warp sextant's calculations is destroying the data repositories. The offering did not appease the ship's spirit. The warp engine cannot be filled with the motive force. We are trapped. A moment later, the Magus continues uncertainly. Perhaps an alternate Rykad protocol, or an emergency launch of the auxiliary coils. The tech priest bends over the cogitators, but something in his pose and movements reveals his desperation. While the other vid screen fills with more and more strings of symbols, the monitor in front of you blinks and its static images changes. Pascal is too engrossed to notice. Read the information on the vid screen. Da, 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 da. Machine Spirit, can you hear me? The cogitator's servant creaks quietly in its joints, a sound that is drowned out by the Binharic hymns and the tapping of command runes. Da, 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 da. Machine Spirit, this is the Lord Captain of this vessel. Obey me and start the warp engine. Pascal's voice shakes with tension. That was a non-executable request, Lord Captain. Even if the voice receptor could interpret such a... Pascal's next vocalization goes unsynthesized as he sees the vid screen begin to stabilize one after another. The strings frenetically galloping across the green background are replaced with stable images or regular updating status reports. Only one monitor remains inexplicably red. The tech priest's vox cackles in shock, crackles in shock, but his report is as clipped and clinical as ever. Registering, warp sectant activated. Registering, data stream stabilizing. Registering, 0 data errors found. Reporting, the warp engine is ready for translation. After a pause, Pascal adds, I am also reporting evidence indicating a Category 3 miracle fulfilling the criteriation. Thou shalt witness the mechanism that toils in glorification of its function and in defiance of deactivation. Lord Captain, Raver here. The crew are almost finished carrying out the orders given earlier, and I have received confirmation of from the engineering halls. I don't know what you did, but the warp engine's up and raring to go. We are ready to begin the translation to the warp, your lordship. The Lord Captain speaking. I give the order to commence translation to the warp. Waiting for you to ascend to the captain's throne, Lord Captain. May the Emperor protect us. Well, that must have been the reactor going up. I do like the cinematics in this. I think they're done pretty good. I like this, like, you know, all the windows are being shut so you can't see into the warp, because that would drive you crazy just looking into the warp. I think they did a great job getting the feel of the 40K universe. I like these two. These black and white cinematics are just as cool, I think.
The Von Valancia's flagship made its way out of the doomed star system. As the void shift plunged deeper into the Corona's expanse, the Rogue Trader's subjects bid a formal farewell to the late head of the dynasty, Theodora von Valancius. Having paid their last respects, the crew gathered their strength and braced themselves for whatever was to come next.
Alright, so is it just me, or did Theodora look like Mom from Futurama? Just like Idris sounds like Hermes' wife, La Barbara. Lord Captain, allow me to report. Our journey through the warp is coming to an end. Lady Navigator Orcelius informs me that we have reached the point where we can translate to real space. In the Forbundius system, the Lady Navigator and her pilots are awaiting your permission to begin the process. The Forbundius system is home to Footfall, the only Imperium outpost with a functioning wharf in the Kronos expanse. The tech priests are begging you to have mercy on the machines worn down by the warp and allow the servants of the Omnisci to inspect and heal the void ship's wounds in the dock. The prayers and rituals will take some time, which our astropathic choir will use to establish a connection with the prime worlds of your protectorate, Dragonus, Janus, and Kaiva Gamma. Master Zachary Weiss has recovered an invitation previously adrift in the Imperium. The Liege of Footfall has humbly requested an audience with the Rogue Trader of the Von Valencius dynasty. According to Master Zachary, the message was tinted with shades of pleading. I quote, "Apparently the Liege is anxious to meet as soon as possible." Footfall, the place where filth and sanctity go hand in hand. Reverend Hieronymus Doloroso will most likely expect a visit from me. I imagine he will be interested in talking to you as well, Ignatius. I will be leaving your void ship when we arrive on Footfall, Ignatius. Once that is done, consider the Lord Inquisitor's tasks complete. Your Lordship, young Evan Winterscale has asked me to convey his gratitude for your hospitality and for saving him from certain death. Not wishing to outstay his welcome, he plans to disembark at Footfall. Lord Evans swears he will not forget his debt to you. I hereby inform the Rogue Trader that during a comprehensive system inspection rite, this unit discovered data clusters within the Captain's Cogitator that are concealed from prying eyes by means of a personal cipher and a sacrament of algorithmic authorization. Unit Ignatius von Valencius has been added to the access list and assigned as identifier Keeper 2. The unit can access the data from the Captain's Cogitator provided that he possess the decryption key. You detect a hint of something resembling curiosity in Pascal's mechanical voice. Are you leaving us, Heinrichs? The arrangement between the Lord Inquisitor and your predecessor was that I be transported to Footfall and no further. I dare not take advantage of your generosity and patience any more than I already have, Ignatius. You are a skilled fighter. I could use people like you. What do you say we extend our stay and your stay in my retinue? Thank you for the offer, but I must decline. I am afraid my duty to the Golden Throne comes before anything else. Argenta, who is this Reverend Hieronymus who wants to talk to me? He is the head of the Drusian mission on Footfall, and one of the most prominent clergymen in the sector. Paying him a visit is a good thing for any loyal servant of the Emperor to do. I assisted his mission before I joined Lady Theodora on her voyage. I need his blessing to accompany the new Rogue Trader of the Von Valencia dynasty. If you wish to have me aboard your void ship, I request that we meet with Reverend Hieronymus. Vigdis, tell me about the system we are arriving in. Verbundius is valuable due to its close proximity to the Maw, the gateway to the Imperium. The system is mostly known for Footfall, the main base for merchants, privateers, and rogue traders traversing the Coronis Expanse. Additionally, the star itself is orbited by an Adeptus Mechanica station, which is off-limit to outsiders. Alter Templum Calexius X-17. I had the honor of tending to this shrine for a few thousand cycles. I suggest you abstain from visiting it, as most tech comrades at the station are engaged in meditative calculations that should not be interrupted. What do I need to know about Footfall? It is the largest port and the trading capital of the Coronis Expanse. It has a dockyard that will allow us to inspect and repair the Void Ship, and it boasts its own astropathic choir, the Coronis Expanse Communications Nexus. Not to mention pirate hideouts, smuggler caches, and forts belonging to a dozen gangs, groups, and factions. In the Coronis Expanse, the Imperium relies on this as its outpost. The fringes of humanity's domain rarely resemble its central worlds. But for as long as Footfall serves the God Emperor insofar as it can, it will be considered a citadel of the Imperium, although I have heard that the ties it sends are underwhelming, to say the least. Due to Footfall's remoteness, it has developed its own rules and customs. Many of the goods that can be produced there would be considered heresy in the heart of the Imperium, enough to warrant summary execution. Moreover, Footfall is the domain of the Rogue Traders, who transcend certain Imperial laws by virtue of the warrant they bear. Footfall is just a brief stop. What next? As soon as we solve the issues plaguing the ship and establish contact with the key worlds of your protectorate, the time will come for your Magnae Ascensio, the official ceremony of donning the mantle of the Rogue Trader. It is mostly a formality at this point. You already possess all the privileges granted by the warrant, and yet it is a major milestone in your personal history. The moment your name graces the list of heads of the Von Valentius dynasty. We are all looking forward to that day, Lord Captain. Abelard, do you know anything about the Liege of Footfall? Vladium Tokara is a very peculiar young man. Consider your upcoming conversation a baptism of fire in Footfall's political arena. Such things are not spoken aloud, but Liege Tokara is the appointee of the Casbalika mission, the largest robber baron crime syndicate in the Calaxis sector. They specialize in the cold trade, the buying and selling of all kinds of Xenos rubbish. Footfall was previously run by a liege who did business with several criminal factions at once, but he suffered an accident. The reins of power were passed up by Vladium Tokara, whose appointment benefits not only the Casbalic, whatever, but also their most powerful ally in the Cronus Expanse, Lord Trader Caligos Winterscale. Vladium is a slippery yet very cautious fellow. He does not usually beat around the bush and does not play mind games. Perhaps more importantly, he is no fool. Fools do not rise this high in the Casabilican hierarchy. Keep all this in mind. You are a rogue trader. You stand above him in status and wield considerable power. Having said that, history has seen cases where the Casablancan barons crossed swords with rogue traders and emerged victorious. Do not forget that, and remain vigilant. The Casablanca, vile tech thieves, Pascal's Vox barks out the last words like profanity. Why does this liege want to see me so badly? Not you personally. He wishes to meet with the rogue trader of the von Valentius dynasty. Tokara does not know about Lady Theodora's death and is simply seeking an audience with the powers that be. My gut is telling me that something must be very wrong on Footfall if our astropath managed to read such strong emotions in such an anodyne message. We have no information, Lord Captain. The broadcast from the Footfall Astropathic Choir was the only missive Master Zachary has received lately. Tell the Lady Navigator I give her leave to make the translation from warp into real space. Vigdis begins issuing instructions. The massive ship appears to change with her every word. The bridge is set in motion as hundreds of people start to prepare for the shift to real space, and measured chanting fills the corridors to safeguard the vessel and its crew. Vigdis turns to you once again. One more thing, Lord Captain. No one at the station knows about Lady Theodora's demise and you inheriting the title. Liege Tokara will be informed. It is required so we can use the dock, and besides, he is expecting a personal audience with the rogue trader. He will not meet with an unknown person of unclear standing. However, there is still the matter of announcing your arrival. You can either arrive on the station with the proper pomp and circumstance, or choose to visit incognito. Tell me in detail how these choices will benefit me. According to Footfall's unwritten laws, rogue traders enjoy special privileges that exceed even the power of the liege. However, they may choose not to exercise those privileges in certain situations. Arriving incognito will give you more room for maneuver, while an official visit will allow you to directly intervene in local affairs. I shall explain if you do not mind. As per this unwritten rule, every rogue trader arriving at this station has the right to veto any of the Liege's decisions. But there is a catch. The Cronus Expanse is home to several influential rogue trader dynasties, and Footfall is where their interests intersect. Of course, that does not prevent certain persons, namely Caligula's Winterscale, from subtly pulling the strings on Footfall. If you, as a rogue trader, start your career with an official landing and a parade in your honor, the other dynasties may see this gesture as a newcomer challenging their spheres of influence. I do not see that as a bad thing necessarily. The old man Winterscale may take slight offense. Chorda will be put on her guard, but you have just risen to prominence, and most people in the Cronus Expanse have not even heard about Lady Theodora's departure yet. It must be made clear that the banner of von Valencia soars as high as ever. If I may, I would recommend arriving incognito. You will have plenty of opportunities to savor the sweetness and the burden of power, but right now is the last time you can take refuge in obscurity. This way, your arrival will not draw much attention, and the people will treat you as a person and not the almighty sovereign anointed by the emperor. It could turn some situations to your advantage. Let's go incognito. I have decided. Tell the liege I will arrive incognito. It will be done, Lord Captain. Vigdis bows again. With your gracious permission, I will return to my duties. And it looks like we leveled up. We won't level up until we get, our party together. All right. Dockyard is waiting for the ship to Ship in order to begin the full inspection of repairs. Okay. Argenta has something to discuss with the head of the Druid system and is counting on the Lord Captain's support. The bridge cogitator, once belonging to Theodore von Valencius, Pascal is sure that it can be used to decrypt the discovered databank. All right. So we got 3 different quests here. Let's talk to Argenta. Should be over here somewhere. There she is.
Greetings.
Even in stillness, Sister Argenta radiates energy. With her dark eyes shining and a slight blush on her cheeks, she is reciting a prayer and looks at you once, only once. She has spoken the final line. Alright, so this is just getting information about her. Evidently, we didn't need to talk to her about Harminius. So I'm not going to do that. I might go through and hit all of them and just kind of do everything as a separate thing. But we've already talked a ton in this. So we're going to skip this and let's get to the station. So let me know if you want me to do an episode that's just like, I'll do an episode talking to Argenta, an episode talking to Idris, and so forth and so on. So let me know in the comments if that's something that you would like to see. Lord Captain. Oh, their ship's right there by us. Graver's voice over the Vox sounds wary rather than annoyed. I'm getting reports of several ships moving towards us. Judging by the fact that they're not responding to our hails and the telemetry shows a trail of micro batteries, they're not just here for a chinwag. Ready to issue orders to prepare for battle at your command. On my order, all stations get ready for void combat. Alright, so every 10 points in a stat gives +1 on is the bonus. So when it talks about a stat bonus, now we know. Because I didn't know that before. Alright, you've engaged the enemy in space combat. Battles in space and on the surface of planets works quite differently from another. Looks like maybe our movement. In space combat, the battlefield is separated into 3 zones marked by various degrees of brightness. Acceleration zone, mid-movement zone, end movement zone. Ships travel at high speed even during combat, which is why both your ship and those of your enemies must move a certain distance each round. You can only end your turn once your ship has traversed its minimum required distance upon entering the end movement phase. Alright, so to move a ship, click left mouse button on any accessible cell on the battlefield. Once you do, you will see a hologram of your ship that will allow you to evaluate the efficiency of the future attacks and actions from that position as you would in regular combat. Left button click again to confirm. Alternatively, you can click right button to remove the hologram. Alright. So we got a Cobra cast. So we got 2 destroyers, void ship ram, prow gun, torpedoes, side battery, dorsal battery, other side battery. All right. Let's fire the torpedoes at this ship. You fired a salvo of torpedoes. Torpedoes will appear next turn in the priority order. Once their turn begins, you will be able to direct them. Your own torpedoes can pass through the space by your flagship without damaging it. As soon as the torpedoes reach an enemy, they explode. Enemy ships can attack your torpedoes to destroy them before they reach the target. One well-placed shot destroys one torpedo. All right. Your ship is equipped with what we just looked at guns. Alright, so it looks like this gun can shoot, so we're going to go ahead and shoot at this guy. My shields take damage. Okay. Facing shields, angle wisely, okay. Rouge Trader flash shields, weakened when you take damage. Damage is not recovered at the start of the turn. Instead, they can be restored by using a restart shield, okay. Restarting the shields on your flagship. Reduce your flagship's combat. On the next turn, you will have reduced movement and firing range, okay. Alright, one ship down. Oh, the torpedoes can't hit it. Well, that sucked. We're way out of range to be able to shoot that thing. Right? Yeah. I mean, the main gun probably could have, but we couldn't turn the main gun on it, so... What's this? Torpedo control gives control of the nearest torpedo salvo, granting it 5 BMP. Only works on torpedo salvos that were launched on another turn. Alright, what's this? Flagship flies in a straight line, making a full U-turn at the end of its movement. Ow! Our shield's gone. Oh, now you're in trouble. Well, ship gets XP too, cool. Enemy attacks can penetrate your shield, damage your hull. This damage remains after the battle is over and must be repaired. Open the Void Ship Management screen to make repairs on your ship. Use scrap to repair your ship. Restore its hull integrity. Scrap can be found while exploring star systems, collected from certain space battles, or purchased from merchants. Okay? Oh, yep, our ship is speed up. Void Ship Management. Back to bridge. Alright. Void Ship Management. Oh, that right there, our mouse was on it. Repair hull, 6. 6 scrap, yes. We can level up the RAM, upgrade the hull. Let's upgrade the hull. 50 scrap, yeah, go for it. I don't want to upgrade much more because we just don't want to use up all of our money. Alrighty, so I'm going to go ahead and call it here. Basically what we're going to do next episode, before I start, I'm going to go ahead and... never mind. I'll just do everything on screen. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. I do appreciate it. As always, like, subscribe, comment. I appreciate that as well. I have been Sir Joseph. You guys are amazing. Until next time, stay safe out there, and I'll talk to you later.